Imagine waking up each morning already ahead of the world, before the noise, before the demands, before anything has a chance to pull you off course. That early hour isn't just a time on the clock, it's a doorway to power, clarity, certainty, and momentum. Most people start their day reacting, but when you rise with intention, you take control. You decide how your day unfolds. You choose your energy, your focus, your direction. This isn't about waking up early. It's about waking up to your life. And when you master your mornings, you don't just start stronger, you live stronger. When you wake up early, something powerful happens, something most people never get to experience because they're too busy hitting the snooze button, too busy negotiating with their own excuses, too busy letting their morning slip away before the day even begins. But when you rise before the world wakes up, you create a moment of pure ownership, a moment where nothing and no one is demanding anything from you, a moment where you decide who you're going to be for the rest of the day. That's where transformation begins, right there in the silence before sunrise. Most people don't realize this, but your morning is the training ground for your entire life. The way you start your day is the way you live your day, and the way you live your day is the way you live your life. If you begin your day rushed, scattered, distracted, and reactive, then the entire day starts controlling you. You're not steering the ship, you're just trying to stay afloat. But when you choose to wake up early, even when it's uncomfortable, even when your mind tries to convince you that you need more sleep, you're doing something far more important than just getting out of bed. You're building self-mastery. You're taking back control from the part of your mind that always chooses comfort over growth. Every great transformation begins with a decision. And waking up early is one of the most powerful decisions you can make, not because of the hour itself, but because of what that hour represents. It represents discipline. It represents intentionality. It represents your commitment to yourself. Most people want a better life, but they're not willing to take control of the first moment of their day. And if you can't control the first moment, how are you going to control everything that comes after? When you rise early, you enter the day with clarity instead of confusion. Instead of waking up and immediately reacting, checking your phone, scrolling through other people's lives, absorbing the stress of the world, you wake up with space. Space to breathe, space to think, space to connect with yourself before anything else tries to pull you in 1,000 different directions. That space is priceless. It's where mental strength is built, where emotional stability is created, where purpose is shaped. It's where you remind yourself of who you truly are and what you're here to do. Think about the difference between someone who wakes up late and someone who wakes up early. When you wake up late, you're already behind. You rush through your morning, you rush through your decisions, and your mind is constantly playing catch up. That energy creates stress, frustration, and anxiety before the day even starts. But when you wake up early, you walk into the day ahead of everything. You feel grounded, you feel prepared, you feel like the author of your own story instead of a character reacting to everyone else's plot twist. Waking up early is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's about saying to yourself, today I choose growth. Today I choose focus. Today I choose to lead my life instead of letting circumstances lead me. And when you do that consistently, your life begins to shift. Opportunities look different. Challenges feel different. You start responding instead of reacting. You start noticing things you used to overlook. You start believing in your ability to shape your reality because you've already proven it to yourself the moment the alarm went off. The truth is, most people underestimate their mornings because they underestimate themselves. They don't realize the power. They have to change their future by changing the first 60 minutes of their day. They don't realize how much of their stress is self-created because they begin their mornings without intention. But you're not most people. You're here because there's a part of you that knows there's more available to your life, more clarity, more energy, more discipline, more purpose. And it starts by taking ownership of the one thing most people overlook the moment they open their eyes. Waking up early is a declaration to the universe. It says, I'm not waiting for life to happen to me. I'm stepping into the driver's seat. It's a signal to your brain that you are the kind of person who takes action even when it's uncomfortable. And once your brain accepts that identity, everything changes. Your habits, your decisions, your confidence, your momentum. Because discipline in one area spills into every other area of your life. When you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win your life. But the real magic happens when waking up early stops being a task and starts being a commitment. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes a promise you keep with yourself every single day. You don't rise early because it's easy. You rise early because you know your future deserves that level of devotion. You rise early because your dreams deserve it. You rise early because the person you are becoming is worth the effort. Your mornings hold the key to your transformation. They are the open door to clarity, to power, to emotional strength, to strategic thinking, to the identity you want to build. Every morning is a new chance a fresh page, a clean slate, a moment where nothing is written yet. And when you wake up early, you ensure that you're the one holding the pen. And that is where the shift begins, in the decision to rise before life demands anything from you, so you can step into the day with ownership, direction, and unstoppable momentum. Own your morning and you will own your life. When you wake up early, you open the door to something most people never give themselves: the power hour. The first hour of your day is the most influential, the most transformative, and the most underestimated hour of your entire life. It sets the tone, the energy, and the emotional direction for everything that follows. This hour is where you prime your mind, command your emotions, and prepare your body to lead, not just survive the day ahead. And if you truly want to transform your mornings, you must learn how to take that first hour and turn it into your personal foundation for greatness. Most people roll out of bed and walk straight into the chaos of the world. Their day begins with notifications, pressures, responsibilities, and decisions. They start in reaction mode, and they stay in reaction mode until they fall back into bed at night. But when you claim that first hour for yourself, you shift the entire structure of your life. You stop living from the outside in, letting the world dictate how you feel. Instead, you begin living from the inside out, deciding how you want to feel, who you want to be, and how you're going to show up. This power hour is not about doing what everyone else does. It's about creating a ritual that ignites your best self. It's about stepping into the day with intention instead of drifting into it with exhaustion or distraction. It's about taking the time to connect with the deepest part of your purpose before the world tries to pull you in 100 directions. The first piece of this hour is movement. Your body is not designed to wake up and immediately sit in stress or sit in silence. Your physiology determines your psychology. When you move, when you stretch, walk, jump, breathe deeply, you activate energy that was dormant. You generate momentum instead of waiting for it to magically appear. Movement tells your brain, we're awake, we're alive, we're ready. You're not just getting your blood flowing, you're getting your purpose flowing. The next part is gratitude, not the passive kind where you casually think, I guess I'm grateful for this or that. I'm talking about intentional gratitude, the kind that forces you to shift your emotional state. When you deliberately focus on what's good, what's working, what you love, and what you appreciate, your mind becomes more resourceful, more solution-oriented, more grounded. Gratitude is not just a feel-good practice. It's a state that rewires your focus. It prevents your mind from going into fear, overwhelm, or comparison. It stabilizes your emotions before the day has a chance to destabilize them for you. Then comes focus. This is where your mind sharpens. This is where you stop drifting and start deciding. What do you want from the day? What are the top priorities? Who do you need to show up as? What energy do you want to embody? These questions pull your mind into alignment with your goals instead of your distractions. They force clarity. They build purpose. They give your actions direction. When you combine movement, gratitude, and focus, you create a state of personal power that most people never experience. Not because they can't, but because they never give themselves the time to experience it. And that's the tragedy. People want better lives, but they're not willing to improve the hour that determines the trajectory of their entire day. The power hour doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. Even if all you have is 15 minutes, those 15 minutes done with energy and purpose can create a massive shift, because it's not the amount of time. It's the quality of presence you bring into that time. It's the decision to make yourself the priority before the day demands you for 100 other things. When you commit to mastering the first hour, you create a separation between the old you and the new you. The old you wakes up tired, reacts to problems, feels overwhelmed, and struggles to catch up. The new you wakes up early, creates energy, builds clarity, and walks into the day with confidence and direction. And the only difference between those two people is what you choose to do in those first 60 minutes. Think about athletes preparing for a championship game. Think about performers preparing before they go on stage. They don't just jump into action. They prime themselves. They warm their body, sharpen their mind, regulate their emotions, and step into the moment ready to deliver at their best. Your life deserves that same preparation. Your future deserves that same intention. Your goals deserve that same level of respect. This is your championship every single day, and your power hour is your preparation. If you skip it, you're entering the day unprepared. If you honor it, you're entering the day unstoppable. But here's what most people don't understand. This power hour is not just about what you do. It's about who you become by doing it consistently. You start becoming a person who doesn't wait for motivation because you create your own. You become someone who doesn't live on autopilot because you wake up with purpose. You become someone who doesn't feel lost or scattered because you build clarity before the world has a chance to fog your mind. And when this becomes your daily ritual, everything else follows. Your mood improves, your decisions improve, your relationships improve, your discipline strengthens, your productivity skyrockets, and your sense of personal power becomes unshakable. You start to recognize something that changes your entire mindset. The first hour of your day is not just a routine, it's a message you send to yourself, to your mind, to your body, to your future. It says, I'm in control, I'm leading this life, I'm showing up, I'm ready. It's the hour where you stop hoping for a better life and start creating one. And once you get a taste of that energy, you won't want to start your day any other way. The power hour is where your morning transformation becomes real and where your day begins with strength, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Give yourself that hour and your life will change. When you make the decision to wake up early, you're doing something far bigger than shifting your schedule. You're reshaping your identity. You're telling yourself on a deep unconscious level, I am someone who rises. I am someone who takes command. I am someone who keeps promises to myself. And that identity shift is what becomes the real power behind this entire transformation. Most people think habits create identity, but it works both ways. Identity also creates habits. When you see yourself as someone who struggles, someone who's inconsistent, someone who can't follow through, your actions will match that identity. And the moment the alarm goes off, your mind starts negotiating. Just 5 more minutes. You deserve it. You're tired. You can start tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes someday. And someday becomes never. But when you choose to wake up early, even when you don't want to, even when your bed feels like the most comfortable place in the world, you are breaking the pattern of who you used to be. You're telling your brain, I don't negotiate with excuses anymore. That's the moment the shift begins. That's when discipline stops being something you chase and starts becoming part of who you are. You must understand something. Every morning you get up early, you're stacking evidence that you are disciplined, evidence that you are committed, evidence that you are stronger than your comfort. And every piece of evidence reinforces the belief that you are capable of more. Confidence isn't built by success. It's built by action, by choosing the harder path when the easy one is right there calling your name. And that early wake-up time becomes a daily vote for the person you want to become. When your identity changes, your decisions follow. Suddenly, you're not the person who sleeps in. You're the person who gets up to win the day. You're not the person who puts things off. You're the person who takes action. You're not the person who hopes life gets better. You're the person who makes it better. This shift in identity becomes the foundation of your discipline, your resilience, and your momentum. Waking up early is not about being perfect. It's not about never feeling tired or never wanting to hit the snooze button. It's about who you choose to be at the moment of resistance. That's where real strength is built. It's when your mind whispers, stay comfortable, and your commitment answers, I rise anyway. That's identity. That's the difference between someone who just dreams and someone who executes. The truth is, discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop by reinforcing who you believe you are. And every early morning is an opportunity to rewrite that story. The moment you stand up, the moment your feet hit the floor, the moment you breathe in that first quiet second of the day, you are stepping into a stronger version of yourself, a version that doesn't make excuses, a version that doesn't wait for motivation, a version that leads instead of follows. Most people live their lives trapped in identities they didn't choose. Identities shaped by past failures, by other people's opinions, by old stories they keep repeating to themselves. But identity is not fixed. It's flexible. And the fastest way to transform it is through consistent action that contradicts the old story. Waking up early is a daily contradiction to every limiting belief you've ever had about yourself. And here's the beautiful part. Identity is contagious. When you start seeing yourself as someone who rises early, someone who shows up, someone who chooses discipline over comfort, everything in your life rearranges itself around that belief. Your energy shifts, your confidence expands, your decision-making strengthens, your standards rise, and the people around you feel it too. You begin to carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms with a sense of direction. You speak with more certainty. You move with purpose because you know you're building yourself from the inside out. Think about the people who inspire you most, not because of what they achieved, but because of who they became along the way. They didn't rely on the world to shape their identity. They shaped it themselves. They created rituals, commitments, and disciplines that aligned with the future they wanted, not the past they were breaking away from. And waking up early is one of those rituals that sends a signal, I'm stepping into the identity of someone who takes ownership of their life. This is where the transformation becomes real, not in the action itself, but in who you become through the action. You're not waking up early just to have more time. You're waking up early to build a new identity, an identity of strength, discipline, clarity, and leadership. You're becoming the kind of person who refuses to let the day happen to them. You're becoming the kind of person who leads from the moment your alarm goes off. And when you live from this identity consistently, momentum becomes your ally. You don't need to force discipline anymore. It becomes natural. You don't need to convince yourself to act. You act because that's who you are now. You don't need to battle with old patterns. They lose their power because the new you is stronger. Everything you want, every goal, every dream, every breakthrough rests on the identity you choose. And waking up early is one of the most powerful ways to choose the identity of someone who doesn't wait for life to happen, but shapes it with intention, discipline, and unstoppable drive. Rise early and rise into the strongest version of yourself. When you wake up early, you're given a gift that most people overlook, the chance to own your day before the world owns you. This is the moment when the noise hasn't started, the distractions haven't shown up, and the demands of others haven't begun to pull you in every direction. This is the moment to take control, not just over your tasks, but over your entire life. And the key to turning this gift into real power is strategic morning planning. Most people think planning is something they do when the day is already chaotic, when the fire is already burning, when they're already scrambling to catch up. But strategic planning in the early morning is different. It gives you the ability to shape the day instead of being shaped by it. It gives you clarity when most people are still trapped in confusion. It gives you purpose when most people are still reacting to circumstances. Owning your day begins with clarity. If you wake up and immediately start reacting, checking emails, scrolling through messages, listening to the endless flow of other people's priorities, you are giving your power away. You are letting the world dictate your energy, your focus, and your emotions. But when you wake up early and take even 10 minutes to plan your day with intention, everything changes. You step into the day as a creator instead of a responder. You step into the day with control instead of chaos. You step into the day with direction instead of distraction. And that difference, that moment of intentional planning, multiplies everything you do for the rest of the day. The power of planning lies in prioritization. Not all tasks are equal. Not all demands are urgent. And not all actions deserve your attention. When you wake up early and map out the top priorities of your day, you are setting a roadmap for success. You decide in advance where your energy will go. You decide in advance which battles are worth fighting and which distractions will be ignored. And once those decisions are made, the day becomes simple. You no longer waste energy figuring out what to do next or succumbing to the pull of trivial matters. Your focus becomes sharp. Your decisions become easier. Your energy becomes unstoppable. Strategic morning planning is also about intention. It's about deciding how you want to feel and who you want to be before the world starts throwing challenges at you. You can plan your tasks, but more importantly, you can plan your state of mind. Do you want to approach the day with calm and clarity or stress and reaction? Do you want to approach the day with confidence or doubt? These are decisions that must be made in the quiet of the morning before the chaos of the day attempts to sway you. By planning your emotional state, you build resilience, you build consistency, you build unstoppable momentum. Another critical element of owning your day through strategic morning planning is visualization. When you wake up early and take the time to visualize your day, you are mentally rehearsing success. You are creating a mental blueprint of how you will handle challenges, how you will achieve goals, and how you will show up as the best version of yourself. Visualization is not just wishful thinking, it is preparation. It trains your mind to anticipate obstacles, to remain focused under pressure, and to operate with confidence. By mentally walking through your day in advance, you are programming your actions to match your intentions. Planning the morning is also about alignment. Your day is full of choices, and every choice either moves you closer to your goals or pulls you further away. When you take the time to plan strategically, you ensure that your actions are aligned with your long-term vision. You don't just react to what's urgent, you focus on what's important. You prioritize tasks that create leverage, that move the needle, that build momentum toward your larger purpose. An alignment like this transforms ordinary days into extraordinary ones because every decision, every action, every interaction becomes intentional. The beauty of early morning planning is that it also creates confidence. When you know exactly what your day looks like, when you have a clear roadmap, and when you've decided in advance how you will respond to challenges, you move through your day with certainty. There's no hesitation, no second guessing, no wasted energy. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything will be perfect. It comes from knowing that you are prepared. And preparation starts in those early moments when the world is still quiet and the choice is yours to make. Consistency is where the real magic happens. One morning of planning is good, but consistent mornings of planning create habits that compound over time. Each day you plan strategically, you reinforce the habit of ownership. You reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't let life happen to them, but creates life on purpose. You reinforce the confidence that comes from preparation, the clarity that comes from intention, and the energy that comes from focus. And as these mornings stack up, they transform the way you live, the results you achieve, and the impact you make on everyone around you. Owning your day is not just about checking off tasks on a list. It's about shaping the quality of your life. It's about determining the energy you bring, the focus you carry, and the influence you have. When you wake up early and plan strategically, you are not just organizing your schedule, you are designing your destiny. You are taking control over your time, your energy, and your results. You are building a life that matches your potential rather than reacting to circumstances that limit it. The truth is, most people spend their days reacting to everything but themselves. They are pulled in 1,000 directions, caught in an endless loop of obligations, notifications, and distractions. But when you rise early and plan with strategy and intention, you break that cycle. You step into the day as a leader, leader of your mind, leader of your energy, leader of your actions. And leadership begins in the morning, long before the rest of the world even realizes what is happening. Strategic morning planning is the bridge between potential and performance. It is the mechanism that transforms ideas into action, dreams into results, and intentions into accomplishments. Every minute you spend planning in the quiet of the morning compounds into hours of effectiveness, clarity, and purpose throughout the day. And over time, that consistency compounds into a life that is aligned with your highest aspirations. When you take control of your mornings, you take control of your life. When you rise early, focus intentionally, and plan strategically, you become unstoppable. You step into each day with purpose, with clarity, and with the confidence that you are leading your life rather than being led by it. And that is the power of owning your day before the world even wakes up. Start your day with strategy, and you will command every moment that follows. When you wake up early, you are given an extraordinary opportunity, not just to get more time in your day, but to create energy that will fuel every decision, every action, and every moment that follows. Most people think energy is something you wake up with, like it's a gift from the universe or something that simply appears by chance. But energy is not something that happens to you. It's something you create. And the way you start your morning determines the way your entire day will feel. If your morning is rushed, distracted, or passive, your energy is low and every challenge feels heavier. But if your morning is intentional, filled with movement, nourishment, and focus, you activate a force inside yourself that propels you forward with unstoppable momentum. The first step in building this energy is movement. Your body is the engine of your mind, and how you move it determines how your mind functions. When you stretch, jump, run, or even take a few deep breaths while engaging your muscles, you are sending signals to your brain that the day has begun, that you are alive, and that you are ready to take action. Movement triggers a flood of neurochemicals, dopamine, endorphins, adrenaline, that ignite motivation, focus, and confidence. It's the difference between dragging yourself through the day and walking into it fully activated. You are telling your body, we are awake, we are powerful, we are capable. And once your body believes it, your mind follows. Hydration is another critical element. Most people wake up dehydrated without realizing it because the body has been in a fasting state overnight. Water is not just about quenching thirst. It is the fuel that powers your cells, your brain, and your energy systems. Drinking water immediately after waking up helps flush out toxins, jumpstart metabolism, and give clarity to your thinking. If you neglect this simple step, your energy is already compromised before the day begins. But when you hydrate with intention, you are priming yourself for peak performance. You are giving your mind and body the resources they need to operate at a high level from the first moment. Breathing is often overlooked, but it is one of the most powerful tools you have to control your energy. The way you breathe determines your emotional state, your focus, and your resilience. Deep, intentional breaths increase oxygen to the brain, calm the nervous system, and create a sense of control over your body. Simple practices like a few minutes of deep breathing, a breathing exercise, or even mindful pauses can shift your energy from sluggish and scattered to alert and empowered. You are literally changing the chemistry of your body with each breath, and that change carries into every decision, every interaction, and every challenge you face. The next element of energy creation is mindset. How you think and the focus you choose in the first moments of your day determine the quality of your energy. Most people wake up and immediately allow external forces, news, notifications, emails to hijack their state. They react, they worry, they get pulled into anxiety or comparison. But when you intentionally choose your focus, when you cultivate empowering thoughts and visualize success, your energy rises. You set your nervous system, your emotions, and your physiology into alignment with the person you need to be to perform at your best. The energy you create in these early moments becomes a magnetic force that attracts opportunities, solutions, and clarity. Gratitude is another incredible tool for building energy. When you consciously focus on what you appreciate, what you're excited about, and what you value in life, your body responds with a surge of vitality. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice possibilities rather than problems, abundance rather than scarcity. It transforms fatigue into motivation, distraction into clarity, and hesitation into action. When you combine movement, hydration, breathing, mindset, and gratitude, you create a compound effect that cannot be achieved by any single step alone. It becomes a ritual that fuels peak performance in a way that lasts far beyond the morning. Rituals are powerful because they signal to your mind and body that something significant is happening. Your mornings become a launch pad, not a passive waiting period. Every action in the ritual, every stretch, every sip of water, every deep breath, every intentional thought is a statement of purpose. It tells your body and brain, we are here to perform, we are here to excel, we are here to lead our lives, not let life lead us. And the energy created in this state is not fleeting, it compounds. It carries you through meetings, challenges, decisions, and even moments of stress. It makes difficult tasks manageable, complex problems solvable, and long days feel lighter. Consistency amplifies the power of these rituals. Doing this once is good, but doing it every day rewires your body, your mind, and your identity. Your nervous system begins to expect energy. Your mind begins to expect clarity. Your body begins to expect vitality. And because this practice is consistent, it becomes automatic. You don't rely on motivation. You rely on ritual. You don't hope to feel strong. You know you will feel strong because you have created it. You no longer leave your energy to chance. You take control of it. The morning energy you create is the foundation for extraordinary performance. It affects your decisions, your productivity, your creativity, and your relationships. People who operate on low energy react to challenges with frustration, confusion, or avoidance. People who operate on high energy see opportunities, take decisive action, and influence others with confidence. When you wake up early and intentionally create your energy, you are literally shaping the way you show up in the world. You are determining the quality of every interaction and every outcome for the rest of your day. And here's the thing, energy is contagious. When you bring high energy into your day, you uplift the people around you. You inspire, you lead, and you create momentum that goes beyond yourself. One morning of high energy can impact not just your performance, but the performance of everyone you touch. And when this becomes a daily practice, it multiplies. It creates a ripple effect that transforms not only your life, but the lives of those around you. The people who achieve extraordinary results understand this. They don't wait for energy to happen. They generate it. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on ritual. They don't hope for performance. They prepare for it. And it all begins in the first moments of the morning, long before the rest of the world wakes up. This is the secret of high achievers, the ability to create energy intentionally, consistently, and strategically so that every day becomes a step toward mastery, fulfillment, and impact. Your mornings are your launch pad. Your rituals are your fuel, and the energy you create becomes your unstoppable advantage. Master it, and you transform not only your day, but the trajectory of your life. Create your energy, and you will create your life. When you decide to transform your mornings, you're making a commitment that goes far beyond a single day. Anyone can wake up early once. Anyone can have one good morning, one burst of motivation, one moment of discipline. But real transformation, the kind that changes your identity, your habits, your confidence, and the trajectory of your entire life, comes from consistency. It comes from doing the small things day after day, long after the excitement fades and long after the motivation wears off. Because motivation may get you started, but consistency is what keeps you growing. Most people never experience the full power of waking up early because they quit before the transformation has a chance to take root. They try it for a day or two, maybe even a week, and then they fall back into old habits. And when that happens, it's not because they're weak or undisciplined. It's because they haven't yet built the identity that supports the new habit. Consistency is what builds that identity. Repetition is what turns a choice into a pattern and a pattern into a lifestyle. It's not about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about showing up even on the days when you don't feel like it, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Those days are the ones that define your growth. The real breakthrough happens when waking up early stops being something you're trying to do and starts becoming part of who you are. Think about that. At first, every morning feels like a negotiation. You're battling with your comfort, with your old habits, with the urge to hit the snooze button, with the voice that tells you that you deserve more sleep. But when you push through that resistance again and again, something shifts. You stop arguing with yourself. The resistance gets quieter. The internal struggle begins to fade, and suddenly you're getting up not because you have to, but because that's who you are now. You've built a new identity, one that doesn't give in to excuses, one that values growth over comfort, one that shows up with purpose every single day. And the amazing thing about consistency is that it compounds. One early morning might make you feel good for a few hours, but a month of early mornings changes your energy. It changes your focus. It changes the way you make decisions. It changes the way you handle challenges. It changes how you see yourself. You start noticing that you're more patient, more confident, more resilient. You're not thrown off by small setbacks. You're not overwhelmed by the unpredictable. You've built enough momentum that life feels lighter, more intentional, more aligned. And that momentum comes from repetition, small, disciplined actions repeated over time until they become powerful. Consistency also builds trust. Not trust with other people, trust with yourself. Think about how powerful that is. Most people break promises they make to themselves far more often than they break promises to others. When you say you're going to wake up early and you don't, your brain learns that your word doesn't matter. But each time you follow through, each time you rise when you said you would, you are strengthening the foundation of self-trust. And when you trust yourself, everything becomes easier. Your mind becomes your ally instead of your obstacle. Your confidence grows. Your decisions feel lighter. You stop doubting who you are and start believing in the strength you're building. The consistency of waking up early creates emotional stability too. When you start your day with intention every single morning, you don't leave your emotional state up to chance. You don't wait to see how the day unfolds or how people treat you before deciding how you feel. You decide how you feel before the world even wakes up. You put yourself in a state of clarity, focus, and strength so that no matter what the day throws at you, you're grounded. You become unshakable, and that stability is built in the quiet of the morning, one consistent day at a time. Consistency also reveals the truth about discipline. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things again and again. Waking up early consistently trains your mind to follow through. It proves that you can do hard things even when they're uncomfortable. It reinforces discipline in every other area of your life because once you master the morning, you begin to master the day. You eat better. You think better, you work better, you lead better, not because someone forces you to, but because you've built the discipline to follow through on what matters